Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at pytesseract in Python. But before we look at that, we need to look at what tesseract is, which is famous for being a four-dimensional cube. But it's also a text recognition engine that Google have provided, and you can use it via the command line, or there are different APIs. And it doesn't have any GUI, but you could quite easily design your own. pytesseract uses tesseract underneath, and it's just a wrapper. And this means that you can use Python to interact with the tesseract engine, and that makes things a lot easier. So first we're going to need to install pytesseract, and you can see I've already got everything installed. And then we just import it. I've also saved my tesseract image in this tesseract/tesseract folder. So I'm going to set the command to locating it there, but obviously if you have it in a different place and you need to install tesseract, then you need to change this value here. We've also got this text that we can use to edit, and this European text, which is slightly different, which we're also going to use. And the first thing we can do is take this text.jpg file and convert it to a string. And you can see that it's just converted all the text from the image into a string, which is very impressive. We can also do the same with the European one. And it's almost worked, but it's not perfect, so it hasn't recognized any of the foreign characters, for example. But fortunately, I have installed multiple languages, and I've conveniently picked the ones for this image so that we can try and translate it into text in a better way. So we're going to start with using Italian and see what it does. And so, things to note are that it's managed to pick up some of the accents that the English one wasn't picking up. And that's because in Italian there are accents and in English there aren't. So the default language, which is English, has failed to pick up any of the accents. But it turns out we don't just have to do one language, we can do all of the languages and see if it gets a better result. And that is surprisingly good. It has, however, become over-confused and it's stopping up the accents here, and that's possibly because most of the languages won't detect them. But it has detected most of the text, and it hasn't quite succeeded with these speech marks, but it's very close. And of course, if you know the language that something's going to be in the first place, it will be a lot easier to translate it. Another thing that you can do is you can take a list of files and convert them all. So for this images.txt, I've put all the files in there, and you'll see it just goes through and translates them. And this might be really useful if you just have loads and loads of files you want to process very quickly. You could also do this using a for loop, for example, but this way is built in and it's quite neat to use. We can also get more than just the text. So we can get boxes, and you can see that it's identifying each character individually. It tells you where it is on the page, and the 0 just says that it's the 0th position, but that's not particularly useful because it's done each one individually. And then you could, if you wanted to, draw all the boxes around all the images to show people what it's doing. We can even get more data by just doing image to data, and this tells us everything. So we've got the level, so how far it is down the page number, so obviously they're all on the first page, the block number it's in, then the paragraph number and the line number, the word number, and then the position here, and then we've got the confidence and the text. And -1 means that it thinks it's a space, so it's got that confidence, and you can see that it's identified it again, and it has pretty high confidence on all of the words, which is very useful to see. And the last thing you can do, which I think is very cool, is you can convert the image to a PDF. And this means you could send it to someone afterwards. Because while there are Python PDF extensions, this does a very good job. And when it's run, we can just open the file and see that it's converted it and everything's in the correct place because it's used those boxes. And we can see we've got a PDF that we could just copy and paste or send to someone, which we couldn't do when we just had the image. So hopefully you see that Tesseract is an extremely useful tool for converting images into text. It works best with screenshots, but you can try it with other text like a picture. It only works with typed text, so you can detect handwriting with it, but you could, for example, take text out of screenshots, and it's a very useful tool for detecting what's going on. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Next time you need to use OCR, you'll use the Tesseract tool, and I'll see you again, same time next week. Till then.